Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me today. This is Alex's Notes from the Middle, and I am your host, Alex Light. I am a transformational life coach certified through the Brave Thinking Institute, and I am just so glad that you are here with me. I could not be more honored and grateful to be starting this podcast journey. It's something that I've dreamed of for a long time, and I decided to finally pull the trigger. So, that's something we're actually going to be talking about today is living the life of your dreams, how to get there, living confidently, and really just harnessing that inner energy and those high vibrations inside of yourself to level your life, to live a life that you've always dreamed of. I just first want to say that I I don't really know where this is going to go in the future, as in I don't really know how that it will develop, but isn't that the fun of it? Not knowing exactly the answers, but just trusting the process. Because I am fully trusting this process. And it was time. I was at the point where I was wanting other people to do this with me. And after speaking with my partner, he said, maybe it's just something you should do yourself. And I thought, yep, I think it is something I should do myself. I have a lot I want to say and a lot of big things in my heart that I want to get out. And so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who I am as a person, why I am on this journey, and what to expect in later episodes, kind of. Because it could take a turn week to week. And that's, to me, that's kind of the fun is, ooh, what's going to happen next? I do not know, but we will see what happens. So, why is it called Alex's Notes from the Middle? Let's start from there. We are all living in the middle, okay? We are not at the beginning. We are not at the end. We are all here in the middle, whether that's with goals or things in life. We always are striving for something greater. We are always going for the next thing. So we're all in the middle. And that's okay. That's such a good place to be in the middle, because nobody that I know of wants to just settle. Nobody I know just pushes their dreams aside. Nobody that I know wants that. Sometimes we feel like we have to, but that's simply not true. We don't have to do that at all. We can live whatever dream life we want. And it's a beautiful thing when you just submit to the universe and you're saying, I trust. I trust that these visions are going to come to me. I trust in the energy. I'm trusting in this manifesting. And it's really beautiful. So I just want to say that again, I am Alex, and this podcast is really just going to explore confidence and manifesting. It's going to explore your mindset, relationships, identity shifts, the emotional in between seasons that shape us, because there are those in between seasons. Healing and growing is not linear. It is not. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. And it's the downs that make us. I'm telling you, it's the downs that make us, because you're never going to go lower than you were here. You know, you're always going to work your way up towards your dream life. So, through listener write ins, so if you are listening today, I'm going to be doing write ins. You can message me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or here on YouTube. And I would love to answer your questions about manifesting, answer your questions about confidence, how to live a more fulfilled life, and get the life of your dreams. So, what brought me here? First and foremost, It was summer of 2023, and I went to a yoga full moon ritual. And we were sitting around the fire, and she gave us a journal prompt that said, write your dream life, write your dream vision. Where do you see yourself? And I didn't have a dream. I didn't have I didn't have anything I was working towards. I was so stagnant in life. And I went home that night and I just bawled my eyes out. I was a single mom. I have a good job, but it wasn't something that was fulfilling my dreams. I was living in a house that I loved. I just was there alone. Uh, I felt bad for having a failed relationship and having my son see that. I had a lot of things in my life that I had regretted, and I felt so sad and so unfulfilled and so small. And it made my heart drop through the floor. I I just didn't feel good. And I thought maybe a partner is what I was missing. And I started seeing somebody. And as our relationship got going, all of a sudden I made everything about him. I was doing everything for him. I never said, I want to go do this, I want to go do that. I put my everything into him instead of putting everything into myself. And it made me even more of a shell of a person. And over the time we were together, I lost even more of who I was. I thought, that's not right. That's not how it should be. So I ended things. Um, and it took me longer than I should have to end things, but I did. And I felt really sad, and I went into a pretty deep depression. I was sad a lot, and my kiddo came up to me, and at the time he was only 8, and he said, "Don't worry, Mom, you'll be happy again." If that doesn't make you feel a certain way, having your 8-year-old come up to you and telling you that it's okay, you'll be happy someday, and that he loves you. Oh man, whew, it makes me want to cry now thinking about it. I'm going to try not to. I try not to, but uh, it what he said was really beautiful. He said some things further, but that's for him and me. And I was like, I got to figure out what my dream is. I have to do something for myself. And I decided that I wanted to help people in some way. There's always been this drive inside of myself where I wanted to help others. I love volunteering. I love doing charity work. I love working at the ARL. I love doing Habitat for Humanity. I used to do food drives when I was little. It always made me feel really, really good. And I always knew I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know how. When I was in my mid 20s, I had watched a documentary on PBS because, yes, I am the type of person that watches documentaries on PBS. And they were talking about this man in Detroit, Michigan, who was trying to revitalize the community, and he had started community gardens. And he developed the garden and had the community come in, mostly children, taught them how to plant, how to fertilize, how to water, how to take care of these plants, what to do, how to raise these plants. And then at harvest, they got to take the fruits of their labor home to feed their family. And if you've been unaware of what's been going on in the world in the past 25 years, Detroit, Michigan took a pretty big hit when the car factories left. And so he just really wanted to revitalize the community. And I thought, wow, that's really beautiful. Like, what a big, beautiful heart this man has to not only give a man a fish, but he taught the man to fish so that man could feed his family. And that's really beautiful. So I wanted to do that here. I just didn't know how to go about it. I'm like, how do I get these community gardens going? Because there are areas in Des Moines, especially, that could really use something like those community gardens. And I'm not talking about those plots that you can go and you can rent and things like that. I am talking about a community garden where it is a not-for-profit, where people come in who are struggling financially and they're struggling to put food on the table, and you're helping them grow their food and learning how to take care of it and how to nurture it and getting to take that home. And that really struck something in my heart. But how do you do that? How do you go about that? I had no idea, and I just kind of let that dream go. And so back to it, what I was talking about in the first place before I went down that road, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. So I went to bed one night. We're talking end of March at this point in time, and I had a dream that I was a life coach. And I had never thought about being a life coach before. And it made me feel so good when I woke up. My heart was so full and so fulfilled from helping these people and helping them oh my gosh, helping them realize their dream and figure out what they wanted to do, and watching them get this confidence and this shine. This dream was so vivid. It was like it was spoke to me from the universe. It was beautiful. And I got on my phone, like I do every morning, and there was an ad for a life coaching certification. I never once said out loud that I wanted to be a life coach. I never thought about being a life coach, never looked up wanting to be a life coach, yet there was an ad for a certification for the Brave Thinking Institute. I went to work that day, and I looked at my mom, because I work for my parents, and I said, I think I want to be a life coach. And my mom said, I think that'd be perfect for you. And I said, really? She's like, yeah. So I decided to go through the certification, and my goal was to be provisionally certified by my birthday in June. And this was at the beginning of April when I started. And provisionally certified means that I had done all of my online courses, taken all my online tests, gone through my life coaching myself, because in order to get life coaching certification, you must also be life coached. And I had gotten all of that done in that time. And I made my goal and I went for it, and I reached it. And I woke up on my 38th birthday, and I was provisionally certified to be a transformational life coach. And within the first week, I had my first client, and watching her grow and change. And she is one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. And when I first met her, she really struggled with confidence, and she really struggled with what she wanted to do in life. And we really discussed what she thought she wanted her dream was. And you could tell she was like, about it. But then around week 5, she had her aha moment, and boy, was it beautiful watching her aha moment when she went through it. She's like, I know what I want to do. And wow, did the doors open. She started vibrating higher. She got a confidence like I'd never seen. She put herself out there. She's pretty shy and quiet, and she joined a club and started to meet people, and it was really cool. And by the end of it, oh my God, she just exploded with confidence and shine, and her vibrations were through the roof. She had a 1, 3, and 5 year goal, and her and I are friends on Facebook now, and watching her go through that is just absolutely wonderful. I don't, I, her and I cried so much during that because it's a very personal connection that you're having with somebody when you're going through life coaching with them. You get raw, you I help you with some of your deepest things. I don't do the work for you, and I'm not a therapist by any means, but I can help you find your shine, and I can help you find your confidence. And I can tell you that I knew that that was my dream the second her and I started working together. I knew it was the right path for me to be on. And while I was going through my life coaching training, one of the things we had to do was fill out a vision board. Make a vision board, make a something that shows what your dream life is. And one of the things for me was a podcast. And I thought, God, I really want to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast. And I thought I wanted to do a podcast with another person. I was like, oh, this could be like a funny thing. We could work together. We could bounce ideas off each other. But really what I needed to do was I needed to do one for myself. Will I still go and do one later with somebody else and bounce ideas off of? Probably. But right now, in this moment, I am doing this for me. I am releasing this podcast for me to develop my dream, because I am on a level of confidence now where I feel comfortable enough. Honestly, I don't know where to go from here. When I'm talking, I want this to come out to you as raw and reflective. I want to do storytelling with you. I want to give you a thoughtful perspective on life. And I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers, because I don't. Nobody has all the answers for everything. Okay? So just know that this isn't about being an expert on life. It's just about being honest with you. And it's being honest with you while I'm living a life that I've always dreamed of. It's being honest with you while I'm developing my dream life. Because nobody starts out at something being perfect. We're all growing, we're all developing, we're all in the middle. See, notes from the middle, that's where it comes from, okay? It's like watching a sitcom and they say the name at some point in time. But I just, if you want to build confidence, if you want to reinvent yourself, if you want to heal old patterns, if you are trying to simply just make sense of where you are right now, just know that you belong here. This is an inclusive space. All are welcome here as long as you bring kindness, compassion, and love for others. This is a space for you. I want to see you shine. I want to see you vibrate on such a high level. And I feel like love can conquer all. And what we all really need to do is we need to learn to love this ourselves right here. That's where it starts, is loving ourselves and learning that confidence and learning that shine and learning how you can walk into a room and the whole energy in the place changes because you walked in. I have seen people like that. I have a friend, her name is Katie. She is stunning. And I remember I was out one night and she walked in, and I'd never met her before. And she had this glow about her. She had this style, this confidence. She knew who she was. She was walking in there in her own energy that was so beautiful. And I thought, God, stunning. I stopped her and I said, I have to tell you, you are stunning. And she told me that she just put herself out there and she started living the life of her dreams, right? This is before I started being a life coach, even. And she's an artist and that she's following her passion and following her dream. And when you see people following their passions and their dreams, the way that they enter a room, it's not cocky, it's confidence, and it's beautiful and they're stunning. And I love it. I love seeing people come into their own self for their own self and for nobody else but them in their heart and what they want. And that is why I am starting this podcast, because I want you all to be like that. I want you all to walk into a room and it vibrates. I want you all to walk into a room and it's like watching that freaking scene in She's All That, where she's walking down the stairs and everybody stops and stares at her. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's what I want for you. I want you to walk in with that shine and that glimmer and that just beautifulness. So here I am today in my own confidence and my own shine and my own high vibrations to tell you that I want that for you. I want to help you get there. I want to help you become the best version of you that you can be, where you feel it in your heart. And some days aren't going to be great. Some days are going to be hard. And gosh, I'm still healing. I'm still learning. I am nowhere close to being done. But I'm on the path. I am on the path. And my gosh, when I tell you that I learned to walk in my confidence, people noticed and people say things to me. And sometimes it still surprises me to this day where I'm like, me? I'm the person that you are focused on. I'm the person that like you want to be friends with. I remember, well, we'll just talk about my boyfriend for a second. He and I went to a Thanksgiving, a Friendsgiving, and we were leaving and he goes, you're my person. But I'm starting to think that you're everybody's person. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that because I'm just me. I am just me living in my confidence, you know? But when he and I met, I had given up on dating. I was like, I don't even want to do that anymore. I'd been on dating apps. It didn't work out well. And I was like, oh, I don't even want to do this. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my career. I'm going to focus on being a mom. That's what I'm going to focus on. And he and I met through mutual friends, not like even 2 weeks later. And he's a guy that doesn't date. He's hadn't had a girlfriend in a long time. It's just not something he was interested in because he was living his life for himself, as he should, right? He was like, I had a bad time back then and now I'm wanting to live my life for myself. And he was traveling and doing all of these things that he wanted to do for himself and living his life for himself. And I had started on the journey of doing things for myself, living life for myself. My son is included in that, by the way. Some people are like, well, what about your son? Well, he's a part of me. So by me growing and me developing and me changing and me being the best person that I can be, I get to be the best person I can be for him. And he gets to see that. He gets to see that confidence his mom has. He gets to see that love and joy and passion that his mom has. And then he'll get to grow up knowing what that feels like. How cool is that? Because that kid is a passionate kid, man. My kid is filled with passion, but we're going to go right back to what I was talking about with my boyfriend. So he and I met and we were both out with friends and we had friends who had mutual friends. And he was like, there's just something about you. And I was like, there was just something about you. And we were like magnets to each other because we were both in places where we were living for ourselves and we were comfortable in who we were by ourselves. And we loved ourselves for who we are. And that's what brought us together. And we both still do things for ourselves. We both are still living for ourselves. We just get to include each other in those things now. And it's really, really pretty cool. I mean, I'm going to gush a little bit because I think I'd hit the freaking jackpot with this guy. And he's like, I feel like I hit the jackpot with you. And we tell each other all the time, man, oh, I'm so lucky to have him in my life. And he feels so lucky to have me in his life. And that's a really beautiful thing. And I tell you what, it's amazing when you start submitting to the universe and you start manifesting what you want. And it doesn't happen right away either. So I decided, after honestly seeming desperate for things, that once I let go of the desperation, then that's when things started taking hold. And I've been reading a lot and studying up on things. And one thing I've noticed about manifesting is that you start getting the tools when you stop being desperate for it, but you start living in it and acting like you already have it. And I put the energy out in the universe of the type of man I wanted. And when I was searching for it desperately, it wasn't coming to me. But when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trust when it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's the type of person I want if I ever date again. And then there he was, right there. A big, freaking, shining, gleaming person. And I've had other things in life that had happened that I had manifested. My group of friends being another. I have always been the type of girl in life, up until this past year, who, when I was in a relationship, I was friends with his friends. I would go do things with him. I would always change who I was so he wouldn't feel uncomfortable, and I melded into his life instead of him melding into my life. And after my last relationship ended, I thought, I don't have a group of friends. I want a group of friends. And I started thinking about the type of friends I wanted and how I, like, mentally, how I wanted to connect with them and this and that. And then I get a message from, her name's Amy, and her and I met on New Year's Eve. And we became friends on Facebook after that. And she messaged me one day in end of May, and she said, "Hey, I would love to hang out with you again. Do you want to come to Jasper Winery and for my birthday?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I would love that." And I met this group of women that were the most amazing women ever. Okay, like, oh my God, they're great women. They are strong and independent, and they know what they want, and they're beautiful inside and out. I mean, just stunning group of women. And we connected, and I was like, I asked for these type of women in my life. This is what I wanted. And we were all real with each other, and it was great, high vibrations. And then from there, steamrolled. That's how I started meeting more people. That's how I started developing a life of my own out socially. Work wise, I had already gotten there. That's easier to do sometimes because you're not relying on other people. But I was like steamrolling into, like, getting to know people, being invited out to parties myself, which this is going to sound probably crazy to some of you, but I was never invited to parties because I was me. I was invited to things because I was part of somebody else. And to be invited to something because people actually want you there is really cool. It's a really cool feeling. Not because, hey, you're with this person, so you should come too. It was, no, we want you here. And then Halloween happened, and I saw my boyfriend from across the room, and I was like, there's just something about that guy. And next night we go out, he and I actually started talking, and boy, did we hit it off. And we've been together ever since. And then going back to that Thanksgiving party, he and I walked in, and the entire room cheered. The entire room cheered. It was the craziest thing. And when some of you are watching, I want you to know that he and I were like, what just happened? Because every person that was there cheered when we walked in, because this was the first time that they had really seen us together since we started dating. And again, he wasn't somebody that ever dated people. And I hadn't been with anybody since knowing this whole group, and all of a sudden they're like, you two are just perfect together, it works. So I manifested my friends, and when I manifested my friends, it manifested my boyfriend, and now here I am starting this podcast with the support of those same people, because they're like, you would be good at that, you should put yourself out there, just go for it, girl, you like, just go for it. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go for it, let's do this. And so here I am giving you my really long, drawn out story of a half hour now. And I'm going to have to cut it soon because the dogs look like they're going to start wrestling. And then I won't be able to concentrate and you won't be able to concentrate. So I'm going to close this up by saying, I appreciate you being here today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come to my first podcast ever for Alex's Notes in the Middle. I cannot wait for next week, for this next episode, to build on it further. I'm going to be checking Reddit to talk about some things, to see where I really want to go next. You know, do we want to talk about confidence next? Do we want to talk about manifesting? Is there some mindset things that we want to work on? I don't want this to be exclusively something where women feel comfortable and men don't feel comfortable. I want everybody to feel comfortable in this space, okay? I want everybody to feel comfortable coming to me in this space. And I would love to just have raw reflective storytelling with you. I would love to have raw conversation with you. I really look forward to the future of this and where it comes. Well, I guess where it goes, not where it comes. Whatever. But I look forward to seeing where it goes. You know, I'm not forcing anything besides sitting here and just having a natural conversation. Sometimes I will have guests. I already have people saying that they want to be a guest on the podcast, and I cannot wait to have those conversations with those people, because I tell you what, one of them, I talked to him today, and he lives life to the fullest, and I cannot wait to sit down and have him on here, because if you want to see a person who shines and who vibrates at a high level with beautiful, beautiful confidence, it's him. So, again, not an expert on life. I'm just here to be raw and open with you, and hoping that maybe I can spark something in you to chase the life of your dreams, to live at a higher vibration, to get everything you've ever wanted and ever dreamed of. I'm here for you. So have a really great rest of your day, however much time is left in your day. And yeah, thanks again for being here. Peace.